going to be sharing with you the process that I use to buy rentals, the process that I walk my clients through. I'm going to open it up and share it with you guys right here, right now, because I talk to so many people online and they want to build a portfolio. They want passive income, but they have no idea like where to start, or they're analyzing deals and they don't have any idea how they're going to pay for it, or even if it's in a good market, or even if it would make sense as a rental. People do things out of sequence all the time. Okay. And sequencing is a big part of success in business, right? It's not like, just to take my coaching business, for example, right? I could have like written a book on this right when I started, but that is not the best thing to do as far as sequencing goes, right? Like in the coaching space, it's widely agreed upon that you wait until your business is doing $1 million a year before you start writing books. And then the books add fuel to the fire, but you don't do it in the reverse order, where you start out trying to write a book when you've never even like actually helped any real people. It doesn't make sense, right? It's not that writing a book is a bad idea. It's a bad idea to do first. Now, why am I rambling about this? Because the same thing is true with investing. The same thing is true with anything else. If you are trying to do things out of sequence, you're going to screw up. Okay. People message me all the time. I'm looking at this property on Craigslist, Brian. It's only $12,000. What do you think about this? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, how could I possibly advise you on that? I have no idea like where that house is. What is the neighborhood like? What's the area like? What's the zip code like? What is the city that it's in like? You know what I mean? And then that's just, scratching the surface. Like, we don't even know what the inside of the house is like, or if you could find a good property manager to manage it, if what the repairs are going to be, and does it have foundation issues, right? So like trying to decide whether or not you want to buy that house, that's like almost as silly as deciding you want to marry a girl that you've never met, which I know that some countries have arranged marriages, which I think sucks because you don't even get to meet the person. There's a sequence you got to follow, right? So it's the same thing is true for real estate. And tonight I'm going to walk you through the roadmap. Okay. I'm going to walk you through the checklist on how we get there. We'll call this the 12 house roadmap. Okay. So by the end of this training, probably last 30, 45 minutes tops, you will know where you are on this roadmap. Okay. You will be very clear on, okay, that's my missing piece. That's the one thing I'm supposed to be focusing on right now, because I'm about to line these dominoes up for you guys. Okay. So the very first thing to nail down is actually your mindset. Okay. I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it morning routine. Morning routine. We'll put mindset in parentheses. Now that is probably not what you expected me to tell you to do first, right? And the reason for that is because what I see holds more people back than anything else is actually a lack of confidence. It's a lack of belief in themselves that they can get the outcome. They really can't actually see themselves pulling this off, I mean, be honest with yourself. Can you really see yourself owning a big portfolio of rentals, quitting your job, never having to work again? Does that feel like very possible to you? Or is there some kind of like almost a bit of a mental block there where it's just like, it just feels a little bit out of my reach. It's hard for me to believe that, right? There's a process that I take clients through to help them cultivate confidence before they actually have it, before they have the real world results that are going to cement it. I show them how to cultivate confidence. I even released a in detailed training about this back not too long ago on podcasts and on YouTube. You guys can dig that up. But like, you need a regular routine to check in every morning and say, all right, what do I want to achieve? What are my goals? And then you visualize yourself doing that. And what that essentially does is your nervous system can't tell the difference between something that you imagine and something that is real, which is why you can, increase your heart rate by thinking about something scary, or, your taste buds will tingle if you think about like eating a lemon, like your body responds to things before they happen. And so you've got to teach your body to have these miniature experiences as if you've already achieved goals that you want to achieve. This might sound like wacky, but this is what sports psychology is all about. Okay. Baseball players, they envision cracking that ball over the fence over and over and over again. And to where it's like, it's in their physiology. Like, they expect to do it because in their mind, they've done it so many times, and your nervous system can't tell the difference between something you really did and something you did in your mind. You can look up studies on people that practice shooting free throws, closing their eyes and just picturing that ball going in, and how much it helped their free throw percentage, right? That stuff is not separate from sports, okay? Mark Cuban says business is the ultimate sport. And I totally agree. I think there's so much that goes into being successful in business. And any athlete that wants to be the best, but isn't studying sports psychology, is like leaving a huge thing on the table. They're not going to be the best. Same thing is true with you and your personal goals, your business, your investing goals. You need to study mindset. You need to work on cultivating a healthy morning routine that helps you visualize the outcomes, feel it, emotionalize it, and creates confidence and belief. And then it just doesn't feel like a big deal to take down 10 houses in the next year. It just feels like almost as if it already happened. Okay. So that's number one, is nail down your morning routine and get your mind in the right place. That is super, super important. That's something I walk my private clients through exactly how to do. Okay. Once you've nailed down your morning routine, the very next thing is your market. Okay. Probably should be writing in caps here, but the very next thing is market, nothing else. Okay. You don't start building your team. You don't start marketing. You don't worry about learning seller financing or talking to a banker. Okay. You don't start your LLC. You pick your market. Okay. Where are you going to buy these houses? That is number two. Everything hinges upon that, guys. Like, everything that you want to do after this, it's dependent on knowing where you're going to do it. Where do you need to build that team? Where do you need to deploy marketing? In what area do you need to find lenders? You know what I mean? What area do you need to find contractors in? Everything starts with market. And I've recently changed my advice on market selection because of the craziness that is 2020, and just the fact that we're at this apparently never-ending bull market. Of course, it's not really never-ending, but most markets right now are too expensive for rentals. So I'm just going to come out there and say it. Most markets are either too expensive, or they're too small, or they're on a decline. You don't want markets like that. Okay. So picking the right market that has all the criteria is super, super important. You actually do not want to be in what I call a growth market right now. And that might sound crazy because you think that growth markets mean you're going to make more money. But the thing is, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, most people who are in growth markets are struggling to find deals. And that's because every single other person is already there and everyone and their mom is fighting for deals. Okay. So I'm advising people to pick markets that are flat right now, where there's an abundance of deals. I made an offer today on a house for, 35 grand, rents for 850, needs some repairs, but it was listed on the MLS, right? And so you want to pick a market like that where it's not just such a far out thing to find a freaking house that'll work as a rental property. Okay. And so if you get that wrong, if you get the market piece wrong, if you're trying to invest somewhere that honestly is not going to work out, then you kind of shot yourself in the foot right out of the gate. Okay. So you have to pick a great market. That is number two, a market that makes sense for investing. And guys, I'm not going into every single step on how to do each one of these steps, just because that would be a 15 or 20 hour long video, right? I'm just giving you the roadmap today so that you know where to focus in on and say, okay, I've got to go learn how to pick a market. Oh, I've got to nail down my morning routine, or whatever step you're on. You'll know, put blinders on and go all in on that. You don't know how many people I talk to that are all over the place. And when I tell them that, hey, your first step after you get your mindset right is picking your market, then they know. And then they put blinders on and they just dive into market selection. And if you have true discipline, if you want this bad enough, you will put blinders on, you will be disciplined, and you will stop listening to more podcasts that are about topics that you don't need to know about yet. You'll put your blinders on, you'll get step 1 done, step 2 done, step 3 done. That's how you'll succeed. Okay. So after you get your mindset down, after you pick your market, the next thing is what I'm going to call your starter team. Okay, your starter team. And your starter team is just contractors and property managers. That's it. Okay. That's all you need to start doing deals. Okay. And that is because in order to, let's say you pick a market, you need to, this is something I didn't really go into, but you can't just pick the whole city. You've really got to hone in and figure out what are the zip codes. There's usually a city could have 30 zip codes, but 5 of them will be investable. Okay. So you have to really hone in on what are the zip codes you're going to focus on. Property managers are great for that. I called one today, got some fantastic feedback, and now I know what zips to focus on. And so you need that. You need that knowledge of what zip codes to focus on from property managers. And you also need, should I buy this house? What will this rent for? How much in repairs should I do? Property managers can answer those questions, right? So you're going to need them in order to make purchasing decisions. And then you're going to need the contractor to give you the actual estimate and then to do the work. Okay. So you need those 2 team members. But I see people get way too hung up on building their team. I remember meeting a guy at a RIA meetup one time, and he was so jazzed up about team building, and he wanted to have an accountant and a bookkeeper and an attorney and a title company and all this stuff. And dude didn't even know how to analyze a deal. It's what's the point? You can figure out a good investor friendly title company within 10 minutes, just post on Facebook and ask about it, or call somebody who does deals, right? So stop playing around using delay tactics and just do the bare minimum that you need to move forward. And that's just property manager, contractor. Okay. So I'm telling you guys, this is the formula. If you have a great morning routine, you're in a strong mindset, you're cultivating confidence, you pick the right market that's realistic to do deals in right now, and then you find out just the names of maybe a couple good property managers and a couple good contractors that other investors use with success in those areas, then you're set up. Okay. You're set up. And then you literally are already looking for deals. Okay. And that's number 4. Number 4 is marketing. I hope I'm making this simple for you guys and taking away some of the overwhelm of thinking you got to do all these things to be successful, right? Because it's really not that way. This is like the most succinct and streamlined path, okay? And so marketing means marketing direct to sellers, however you want to do that. What I do is I teach my clients how to use direct mail, and I still get great results with direct mail with the right lists and the right copy and the right drop dates. So there's a lot of little nuances that go into that. The bigger point for you to understand is you need a reliable lead generation source, okay? You can't sit around and hope to find deals. You have to go out and proactively do it. Some of you might be able to make relationships with wholesalers and property managers and call them all the time. You know, I had a client who got a few deals just from calling property managers, and you can do that. That totally works. For me, I like to market direct to seller because I tend to find cheaper deals, and then I'm talking to the decision maker and I can negotiate like the right inspection period, due diligence period for me. Sometimes that's trickier when you're working with a wholesaler. And so I do direct to seller marketing and I do direct mail. And so that is the big like 4th step, basically. Okay. Mindset, market, your starter team, and then marketing. How are you going to, like, basically here's the outcome you want, just to make it real simple for you guys. You sit down at your desk on a Monday morning and you have 3 to 5 new leads to work and make an offer on. Okay. That's the outcome you're after. How you get it, people are divided. People like to do voicemail blasts, text blasts. I don't really like those things. They seem a little spammy to me, and I'm not sure how much longer they'll be viable because they're cracking down on that type of marketing a lot. But I get it. It's like effective and it's really cheap. I understand why someone would use it. Maybe if I was going to be a big time wholesaler, I would implement those strategies again. But you need to pick something that works for you to get deals. In most markets right now, realtors are not an answer to this question either. It's getting harder and harder to find deals on the MLS. There are deals there. And if you pick the right market, you're more likely to find deals on the MLS, okay? But you've got to create some way for leads to come to you, okay? So that's for marketing. Now, number 5 is financing. Actually, let's just call it money. I like all these M's. Somebody come up with an M name for starter team. I'll pay you. So only now, we're already doing marketing. Now we're going to stop and briefly think about the money part. And you know, this is everyone's biggest hang up, right? It's like, how am I going to pay for these deals? Well, the good news is that there's an option for everybody. I do recommend that you have $3,000 to $5,000 in reserves, before you buy a property, because, you know, repair estimates can go over, even if you're working with a coach who's going to dial you in really tight on your due diligence process, so there's not all this unexpected stuff that happens. Still, you could tear down a wall and find some mold and it could be a $2,000 surprise. I don't want you to go buy a house if you don't have access to $2,000 to take care of that, because then your house is just going to sit there not rented until you can pay somebody to fix that. And so you do need some little bit of cushion. The more experienced you are, the less cushion you can roll with, because you can get your repair estimates more dialed in, your contractor management more dialed in. But you need to decide on like what your financing strategy is, right? Am I going to do the Burr method, where I borrow money from the private lender and then I refi out? And if I refi out, am I bankable, or am I going to be able to go to a bank, or do I need to go to like an institutional lender that doesn't look at my tax returns, only my credit score? There's a bunch of those out there. Or does none of that work for me, and I need to do seller financing? I need to just learn how to ask the sellers to carry the notes and put the absolute minimal down, you know. Or some people don't want to do the Burr method because they don't think they have enough time for it, but they have a bunch of cash and they're willing to put 15 or 20K down on a property, and just look for properties that don't need the rehab. Look for properties that are already pretty much in rent ready shape, and it's a much more cash intensive strategy. The point being, the reason that you touch base on the money piece is because right now is because it affects like the offers that you make. It affects everything you do. When leads come across your desk, you're looking at them through like the certain lens of what options you have, right? So if seller financing is your only option and the seller's not open to that, then you know that that deal is dead for you. And at least you know now, right? And so you can just move more quickly on to just making more proposals to people for seller financing versus trying to figure out a way to make this deal work when there is no way, because you're not bankable, you know? So there's like no exit strategy for you, right? Or you don't have enough cash. But understanding the money part, that's the next piece, okay? And I'm going to pause for a second and talk to you about how much time each of these should take, because that's important too, because a lot of people waste too much time. My clients that I work with, we don't waste any time when we start working together, okay? So to nail down a morning routine, 3 days. To pick your market, we'll give them 10 to 14 days max for that. To build your starter team, 3 days. To set up and deploy your marketing, say 5 days. To figure out your money, your financing options, 2-3 days. So how many days are we up to here? Like, what was that? It's less than a month, right? You know, whatever it was. And so these things don't have to take a lot of time when you really dial them in, when you streamline. This is the process, okay? This is like the no fluff, no BS, fastest path to passive income, okay? So you've got your morning routine nailed down, you picked your market, you built your starter team there, you got your marketing deployed, and you understand your financing options, okay? So now we're getting close to making offers, making calls, making offers. This is normally the time when I do the business setup, okay, just to get some of that out of the way. Business setup. So again, this is about a 3-day thing. You're going to pick like whether or not you're going to invest in an LLC or in your personal name. You're going to get lined up with like an insurance provider that can provide you liability coverage. You're going to set up your separate bank account, you know, in the name of, no matter if you do personal name or LLC, you need a separate bank account just to start separately categorizing all your income and expenses, really important. And then you're going to pick like a service to use to analyze deals. Okay, so it's not really business setup, but getting your software picked. I like the company PropStream. That's who I use. And so this is just some housekeeping stuff. You need a good piece of software to analyze deals and run comps on. And what I use also is where I get my direct mail lists from, PropStream. And then you need to go ahead and create the entity in the bank account just that all this is going to go into. Okay. So again, a few days, check that piece off the list. And you're only doing that because maybe you've deployed some marketing right here and it's only been 6 days. So the calls haven't started to roll in yet, or it's only been 3 days and you get to this one. And so you're using your time as wisely as possible. Can you see how this is the fast track, guys? Okay, so the next part is now we're going to have leads rolling in and we are analyzing deals and making offers. Analyze / offer. And I know that this part is scary to like submit a real offer to somebody. But if you're a real player in the game, if you're an action taker, like the type of people I like to work with, you're willing to put your neck on the line and make an offer. It's like jumping off the high dive for the first time. You remember doing that when you were terrified as like a 5-year-old kid? I remember like, I bet one of my friends he wouldn't belly flop off the high dive. And he did it for a fun dip. You remember those fun dips? I'm going way off track here, but like scary as hell, you know, to do something for the first time, like jump off the high dive. Just remember that just because you're all grown up and you're an adult now doesn't mean that you don't still have fears like you did when you were a kid. It's normal. Everybody, you know, it's like for some reason we're not like allowed to talk about it, but that's bullshit. Like things scare me every day. And so just understand that this part is where everyone hits a roadblock because it's like it gets too real. This is where the rubber meets the road. You got to understand that you have a whole due diligence period if your offer gets accepted to decide if you really want to buy the house or not, and you can back out if you don't want to buy it. Okay. So this isn't like this final thing. It's just going under contract. Like if you guys ever watched the show Shark Tank? Well, I read that only about half of the deals that they make on Shark Tank actually go through. Isn't that crazy? And so what that means is that on the show Shark Tank, they're really just going under contract with each other when they make the offer and they shake hands and hug and say, yeah, we're going to blow your business up. They're just going under contract and then they're doing due diligence and they're finding out half the time that the entrepreneur was lying about their profit and loss statements or something. They pull their offer off the table. That happens in real estate all the time. Okay. And so you guys will have to, if you're nervous about making more offers, I'm just telling you that's a fear you're going to have to get over. And having a really airtight due diligence process is the key to protecting your neck. So I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here about fear, but that's just because I don't want you guys to hit this roadblock and not do any deals. Okay. So this step, basically, your marketing has started to roll in and you have leads in front of you. So you must learn to analyze deals, which a lot of people will do this first, right? They'll be just analyzing random deals till the end of time, practicing, posting on Bigger Pockets, you know, about it, but never really getting in the game like they're going to buy anything and setting up a real business and picking a market and deploying marketing like this. Okay. But you don't have to really worry about learning to analyze deals until you're at this stage, because analyzing deals is not rocket science, right? It's not that hard. It's like, I guarantee if you took like math class in high school, it was harder than analyzing deals. Way harder. I don't know why the hell they didn't teach us how to analyze a deal in school, but they didn't. But you need to learn that. And then make offers. And I use what's called the soft offer for that. It's a patented term I made up, not really, but it's where you make a rough high level offer with an inspection contingency. Because I don't want to sit there and take an hour to analyze a deal only to make an offer and just get immediately rejected, right? I want to just be like, I think I can pay around 40. Let me know if something like that works for you and we can firm it up. And that takes me 5 minutes or less to come up with that number. And so I can make more offers quickly and easily when I use my soft offer approach. Okay. So that's what you're doing. Your deals are coming in. You're just looking at a few key things. What's the rent? What's the ARV? What's the, rough rehab estimate, looking at the pictures and using formulas that I use. And then you just make a ballpark offer. Okay. And I can't really stress how important this is. One of the masterminds I was in, Collective Genius, Larry Goines was in there. He's this longtime investor, educator guy. And he was just saying that like literally everything boils down to how many offers you made, and how people tell him all the time that they can't find any deals and they haven't bought any houses. And he asks them, how many offers did they make? And they always say 0. So if you make 0 offers, just tell me, how many deals can you expect to get? Right? So the irony is that this is not only the most important step in the game to your success, it's also the scary part, right? So it's the part that everyone does none of. So most people do none of what the most important part is. I could have worded that more eloquently, but I think you get the point. So I just want you guys to understand this, because this is the roadmap I'm teaching you. And I'm telling you, on the roadmap, if we're talking about driving down a road, you're going to run into a big obstacle on the road. And that is the fear of making offers, right? The permanency of that. It's like I'm telling you, hey, there's a big obstacle up ahead. You're driving down this road. You're going to run into that. So just be prepared for it and build your mindset up. You do your morning routine. You focus on your mindset and have a process for cultivating confidence. It's dramatically going to help you with this. Okay. So what do you guys think the next step is? We've talked about mindset. We talked about picking your market. We talked about building just that starter team. We talked about deploying your marketing, figuring out your financing options so you're clear on that, setting up your business, and starting to analyze deals and submit what I call soft offers, ballpark offers to people. The next step is your due diligence. Okay. So what does that mean? That means your offer got accepted, and now you have to decide, oh shit, do I really want this or not? Remember the guys on Shark Tank? Remember how I told you when an entrepreneur accepted their offer, the sharks had to be like, okay, Now I got to decide if I really want to buy this business or not, because, they've accepted my offer on the show. It's the same thing, but with the house. Okay. It's the same deal. You're deep diving into that deal. You're ordering your home inspection. You're getting your contractor's estimate. You're speaking with your property manager about it. You're speaking with a realtor about it. Maybe speaking with some local investors about it, right? Speaking with your coach. You're double checking on what are the property taxes. You're getting a bid for the insurance, right? You're double checking to make sure you have everything right. What is the ARV? Double check those comps. What's like a conservative rent estimate for the area? The area is definitely good, right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's not in like a flood zone or, something weird like that. This is due diligence. Okay. I get a home inspection and I look at it against my contractor estimate. And then I have anything that wasn't covered in the contractor estimate, but it's in the inspection, added to that contractor estimate. And then I get the more dialed in figure. That's a key thing to do. And so due diligence is where I see most people lose a lot of money. First of all, they could have offered the wrong amount. They got the rent wrong, they got the ARV wrong, and then they get the rehab estimate wrong. Pretty screwed. I know people that have lost, 30, 40 grand on a small single family house because they got the rehab estimate wrong. It's a huge thing. You get that, you can miss that by 20 grand easy if you're not careful. Okay, so you need to have an airtight process for due diligence. Super, super important, especially if you want to be able to buy properties in any market. Like I live in Colorado and I invest in the Southeast. The only way I can do that is through airtight due diligence, okay? And so if you get a deal accepted, you enter this due diligence mode. For me, this is like the first time the work actually starts. It's like I have like, a 10-day inspection period. And so I'm like on top of everything. The way I have my stuff set up, I'm still having my assistant make the calls, to get the home inspection lined up or whatever it's going to be, for that with the contractor. But I'm staying on top of it because I know the clock is ticking. Okay. But you have to you're making your final buying decision. Is this a yes? Or is this a no? Or is this a renegotiate? That's another option too. You either decide through due diligence that you want to move forward with the original agreement, or something came up and you do not want to move forward at any price, or you still want to move forward, but it's going to have to be at a different price or terms. And you come back to the seller and present that to them. They either accept, reject, or counter, and you go from there. And you don't get emotional about it. You treat it like a business, and that's it. And this is pretty much the process, guys. Like, obviously, if you buy the house, you renovate it and then you rent it out, right? So that's really the only other step. I don't have room for it on here, but renovate and rent, and then rinse and repeat. Okay. That is the process. That is the 12 house roadmap. I'm going to go through this one more time in case anybody's hopping on just now. Solid morning routine that cultivates confidence and belief. Solid rental market. Realistic market to buy deals in right now. Starter team, contractor, property manager to help you make your buying decision. Deploy your marketing. You need a reliable source of leads to look at every single week. Understand and figure out your financing options, the money. Like, what is the plan specifically? Talk to the right people. Are you approved? Are you not approved? Either way, there's an option for you. But you need to understand that very clearly. A lot of people get confused about the money and they're trying to analyze an offer. but they're confused about how they're going to pay for it. Now, how the hell is that going to work? Would you go to a store and buy a flat screen TV if you weren't sure if you had the money in your bank account? Would you take the TV to the counter and check out? Or would you check your money first, right? And say, okay, I can pay for this. Same thing's true with real estate, but even more so because it's a big purchase. So if your mind is muddy about the money, you need to clear that up and just be real about your financing options. You know, if you're broke or something, like, you don't have as many options as someone else, but it doesn't mean that you can't do deals. And that's a big misconception, but you need to clear that up. Business setup, you're going to go with an LLC, personal name, what software you're going to use, get your separate bank account, and then analyze deals and make offers. Okay. So you literally have to carve out time, sit down, like look at the numbers, make soft offers. That only takes me 4 or 5 minutes per deal. And then if you get an accepted offer, then you go into due diligence period. And then I go way deep on the deal. I make a final purchasing decision. And then if you buy it, you renovate the property, manage the contractor using an airtight process, and then you hand it off to the property manager to rent it out. That's it. Once you do that phase, or once you get to that phase, you're done. And rental properties take very little time for you to manage from there on out. Okay. So from this like marketing to like handing it off to the property manager, that's where really analyze offer down to the property manager. That's where like all the work comes in on buying a rental. And then once the property manager has it and you've renovated it, little things will break, little things will happen, but you know, it's not going to need another like full rehab for probably a good 10 years. And so you can just chill and collect cash flow and watch your wealth grow. So I hope this has been helpful for you guys. And this is the process that I walk my private clients through. Okay. And my private clients are the type of people who take action and they literally just listen and they're like, all right, Brian, tell me what to do next. Tell me what to do next. And then they go do it. And then they come back. If you feel like that describes you, if you feel like you're coachable, if you feel like you're an action taker, shoot me a DM, or you can simply just type yes down below in the comments, and me or a member of my team will reach out to you and have a conversation just right there on Facebook Messenger about what your goals are, what do you feel you need. And if we feel like it's a fit, we can talk about what that looks like to work with us, because we help clients buy deals every single week by holding their hand and walking them through every single step of the process. Okay. And so I realize that coaching costs money and a lot of people don't like to spend money on coaching, but I'm just here to tell you guys that you want to be where I'm at, right? Where I have rentals to pay the bills. I do what I love. I got here through investing a ton of money into coaching. Okay. And I still do. And I still strongly believe in it. I've one time. I want to encourage you guys to get more comfortable investing in yourself, investing in your future, and investing in your personal growth. Okay. Because there isn't a faster way to get what you want than to go cozy up next to somebody who has it already and have them walk you through the steps. Okay. So if that's something that interests you guys, just type yes down below. We'll reach out to you. We'll walk you through this whole process. We'll help you build a solid morning routine. We're going to set you up in a market where you're definitely going to win. We're going to help you pick the right team. We're going to show you exactly how to deploy your marketing, how to understand your financing options. I'll walk you through the whole business setup. That's easy. And then we're going to get to this part, analyzing deals, making offers, and doing due diligence, and then managing your contractor once you own it, long distance rehabs. That's the kind of stuff that you just don't want to mess up trying to do on your own, in my opinion. There's just too many ways for you to lose money and make bad decisions. And so that's something that we have an airtight process that we teach to our clients. If you want to learn more, type yes. I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. I'm going to go hit the rock climbing gym now, get some exercise. You guys have a fantastic day, and let me know what questions you have, and I will see you soon. Until then, peace.